the detailed information about the import-export procedures, what pros and cons, and what difficulties in custom procedures, and especially examination and recommendation to the competent authority for the possible adjustment of the legislation to have effective implementation to facilitate the business operation in import-export activity. Attending our workshop today, I'd like to introduce Dr. Vũ Tiến Lộc, Chairman of Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and also Deputy Head of the Prime Minister's Council on Administrative Reforms Advisory Input, Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường, Deputy General Director from Vietnam General Department of Customs, Mr. Dory Projects Directors of the Trade Facilitation Projects from USAID, and Madam Nguyễn Thị Cẩm Bình of the Program Managers from USAID. And attending our workshop today, I'd like to thank experts who will be presenting the report and recommendation to improve the recommendation. I'd like to introduce Madam Nguyễn Minh Thảo, Head of Business Environment Competitiveness, Central Institute for Economics Management, CIM, Mr. Trần Đức Nghĩa, Executive Committee Members of Vietnam Logistics Association and Director of Delta International Company, Mr. Trần Văn Trung, Chairman of Vietnam Dairy Association. To start the agenda, I'd like to invite Mr. Phạm Tiến Lộc, President of VCCI, to deliver the opening remark. Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường, Deputy Director General, General Department of Customs, a representative from USAID, and a participant from different sites connecting virtually with us, and representative of international organization, association, and all experts, and ladies and gentlemen representing the press. I would like to welcome all participants for your participation here and virtually to listen to the report on the business satisfaction with import-export administrative procedures. It is the collaboration between VCCI, GDVC, and USAID. With the aim to timely touch upon the difficulties on import-export activity and recommendation to the competent authority for improvement of the execution of legislation to facilitate the business community. As you may know, due to the negative impacts of COVID pandemics, we have seen the disruption of the global trade in 2020 so far. It already impacts the activities of import-export activities of our country. However, this area still shown the great achievement in Vietnam. Following to the statistics, we reached over 545 billion US dollars in the first 6 months. It reached 316 billion US dollar, increasing 23.2% compared to the previous year. That figure reflected the great effort of Vietnam in the context of the pandemics, and also that also reflects the effort of GDVC and the facilitation of business opportunity. That reflects the linkage with international organizations and partners. The report shared with you today is also recognition of the effort from the government agency. We have collected data information from over 3,700 businesses sharing their views on the business satisfaction with import-export administrative procedure. It had been emphasized that it is the policy and procedures have more interaction and quality of this has been shown, especially delinquency filed by businesses have been addressed by different partners. The positive improvement have been seen in custom declaration procedures and complaint addressing. And recently, for example, overcoming the satisfaction and automatics custom procedures clearance. Businesses appreciated the better quality of the custom service delivered. Discipline, professionalism of the custom officers has been further improved. The specialized examination previously was complained by many businesses, but in 2020 it showed a positive improvement. Some ministry agency appreciated very much, like Ministry of Trade and Industry, Ministry of Science and Technology. The extra payment in procedures has been reduced. One reflects the understanding of businesses regarding the integrity, and second is the effort of the custom and different ministry in ensuring the procedures and discipline. Such improvement have been seen positive, and it should be further enhanced in the future. The surveys of VCCI reflected that we need to work more and more effectively to facilitate businesses. For the custom, the business expect to address more interaction with the consultants, with the advisory input. We expect to have more improvement through internet-based connection and service delivery, not both way paperwork and virtually. The custom need to get sharings from the history in goods examination. And many businesses reflected, for example, advisory input for SH, examination and supervision should be further strengthened to deal with cases of violation. And we need to have more measure to address the delinquencies caused by the custom officers. For specialized examination, the businesses expect to cut down more procedures, as well as to address more things online. Many businesses say that the numbers of goods needed examination should be minimized to overcome the overlappings, and we need to apply a risk management mechanism to reduce risk for businesses. And strengthening information among the competent authority and specialized examination agency should be further improved, especially in sharing data and collaboration and support in terms of engagement of the stakeholders. More simplification should be handled online. Transparency should be further enhanced, and infrastructure system should be further improved, as well as improvement of the discipline and integrity. The custom and different ministry and agency need to enhance collaboration and effort to minimize the risk that may cause from the compliance issue. And finally, I would like to thank Ministry of Finance and GDVC for collaborating with VCCI in organizing this virtual launching workshop. I would say that in the whole process of administrative reform, MOF and GDVC has been the companion with us, VCCI. I'd like to thank VCCI and the Project on Trade Facilitation Project, TFP, for your support in doing this survey and organizing this virtual launching workshop. I'd like to thank Ministry Agency for providing your views, input with us, and special thanks go to import-export businesses for spending your time to answer the questionnaire of the survey in the context that you have difficulty in COVID pandemic. Your information, of course, is very valuable for us to include in recommendation for better facilitation with import-export administrative procedure with the representativeness roles of the business community, and also implementing a single window for ASEAN and one-stop shop mechanism. We reflect our engagement and collaboration with the competent authority to have more engagement with stakeholders to provide better services and improvement for businesses. I hope to have joining hand with a stakeholder. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Vũ Tiến Lực. Next, representative from JDBC is also the recipient of the report, and I'd like to invite Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường, Deputy Director General of JDBC, to have opening remark. Mr. Vũ Tiến Lộc, President of VCCI, Madam Merati Sok, directors from USAID, and participants from Mr. Claudio, projects directors from USAID Trade Facilitation projects, and ladies and gentlemen representing Business Association. On behalf of JDBC, I'd like to warmly welcome and thank for your participation at this virtual launching workshop on business satisfaction with import-export administrative procedures, finding from the 2020 surveys organized by these VCCI, GDVCs, and support by USAID. Ladies and gentlemen, custom procedure reform is all considered the very important roles and tasks from the custom sectors. Under instruction by the government and MOF, JDBC has strengthened our reform to simplification on import-export procedures and enhancing the index on the national capacity and competitiveness. Through 2018 surveys, JDBC realized a matter needed further reform, like simplification and enhancing quality of administrative procedures, investment in equipment, and reducing the difficulties caused by the custom officer, and collaboration among custom and other stakeholders. With that effort, we have achieved some results. Firstly, the custom sector has done a good job as the leading agency collaborating with other stakeholders from the government in developing and improving the legislation system related to the custom and import-export procedures, with the emphasis on the reform and improvement in special line examination and ASEAN single window mechanism implementation, or Decree number 85 in 2019 November by the government regulating administrative procedure following to the national single window, ASEAN single window mechanism, and specialized examination. And this is number 38 in 2021 by the Prime Ministers regarding the improvement of the plan for the quality control and the food safety for import goods. And JDBC, of course, has improved the online custom service procedure level 3 and level 4 for 303 procedures, occupying over 53% related to the custom. And we have integrated the custom procedure into the national administrative procedures gateways, and of course strengthened the discipline and reform in human resource management based on these position and task implementation. That has generated a movement for the entire the custom sector for the professionalism improvement to do our better services. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to further enhance the reforms of administrative procedures in import-export, responding to the need of integration, where the people's and satisfaction of business are centered in our process. In the future, we will continue improving some big issues like this. One, we improve legislation procedure to ensure the consistent legal framework for implementation of new generation FTA. And second, develop the digital and smart custom or green custom mechanism, in which custom to be the focal point in implementing the national single window and ASEAN single window with engagement of the specialized examination. With effort to continue improving legislation like procedure for quality control or occupational safety and health issue and food safety issue for the import-export product. And ICT improvement for the master plan on ICT of the custom, forwarding the digital custom development in the context of the 4.0 industrial revolution, and respond to the automated custom procedure in line with international standard. And next, it to improve the 24/7 custom clearance and tax contribution that could facilitate the business engagement. And next, it is to replicate good practice of success for the custom modernization. Ladies and gentlemen, with the level on business satisfaction in import-export administrative procedures in 2020 launched today, it showed that the custom and other ministry agency and the government and the business community, this is the basis for us to work harder to improve and enhance the business satisfaction. JDC would like to extend our thanks to VCCI, to USAID, and especially the business community in your cooperation and collaboration for organizing this workshop. We expect to cooperate further in the future with you. On behalf of the custom sector, I'd like to thank all participants and wish you all good health, happiness, and success. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Wong Việt Cường. Next, representative from USAID. I'd like to invite Ms. Anne Maria Sok, director from USAID Vietnam, please. Xin lỗi, không có tín hiệu âm thanh ạ.
Business associations, international and Vietnamese organizations, online audience, and the media. I'm very pleased to virtually launch the 2020 Customs Satisfaction Survey report today. This is the result of the great collaboration.
Trên màn hình đã có phụ đề ạ. Vâng, hệ thống phiên dịch không có âm thanh và các đại biểu có
ease in customs clearance procedures, ease in post-clearance procedures, and services offered in professionalism. Only a few remaining areas still need to be simplified in customs and specialized inspection procedures. The findings and recommendations are crucial for the development of customs administration and policies that respond to the actual needs of the business community in order to improve trade facilitation in Vietnam. We hope the government agencies will utilize the recommendations in the survey to further improve specialized inspections in Vietnam. We at USAID look forward to continuing the collaboration with GDVC and VCCI through the USAID Trade Facilitation Program to increase the engagement between government agencies and the private sector going forward. These steps will enhance policy making and implementation of laws and stimulate the private sector to achieve more inclusive growth. Thank you.
Có thể tạo thuận lợi cho
We hope the government agencies
Thank you, Ms. Andrade Sox. Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the major part in this section. It is the findings of the report presented by Mr. Đậu Anh Tuấn, General Director of Legal Department of VCCI. Mr. Vũ Tiến Lộc, President of VCCI, Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường, Deputy Director General of GDVC, and representative from USAID, and all ladies and gentlemen joining with us here and virtually. On behalf of the research team from VCCI, I'd like to present the report on business satisfaction with import and export administrative procedures. If we look at the title of the report presented today, you may see one step forward in the customs sectors. So this report is to listen to the voice of business to see whether businesses are satisfactory or not. That reflects the performance of the custom at different levels. It is very important with one word of satisfaction, but it improves a great effort from the custom system. So I'd like to express our thanks to the custom agency for collaborating with VCCI under support by USAID recently for very important products over the last 10 years. My presentation this morning, well, I would like to provide you with an overview of the survey. And I would like to share with you some findings of the survey that we conducted in the Q4 2020. And we also had some recommendation. Specific content due to time constraint. I would not go too much into detail. I just focus on a critical issue, short and sharp. And participants, you are kindly requested to look at the material at the website of VCCI with the data and analysis of the report. And first of all, I would say in 2020, recently, that is the final years in the 10-year custom development strategy. So this survey played a very important role to see whether over the last 10 years with very ambitious strategy, what the custom has improved through observation and cooperation with the custom and other related government agency. In the import-export administrative procedure, we have seen positive movement and change. With some slide, you can see and we understand that we have seen the positive change with sustainability in application of ICT for the custom. Last 10 years or 5 years ago, you may see that we have seen the positive application of ICT and custom. Now, the clearance procedures has been applied and used. So business and exporter, importer, they feel the change years by year or even month by month. It is very clear. And now the custom has strengthened their performance by using the automated goods control and supervision that reflects effectiveness in times constraints reduced. And one important point I said, it is the mechanism for cooperation for the monitoring and evaluation of the custom staff and officers, that we could strengthen the implementation of the legislation as well as an integrity implementation that reflects very important impacts. Because import-export administrative procedure relate to a different state government agency, so the custom play a key role in that process of coordination. So we have seen the more effective coordination and collaboration among the custom and the specialized examination agency. So over the last 10 years, we have seen such improvement. As mentioned in Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường from JVC speech, in the very short times recently, we have seen the improvement in legal procedures. It is the decree number 85 in 2019, which took place in 2020 regarding the national single window or ASEAN single window system. We have seen the new approach, and the standard of Vietnam has been further improved. And especially, the government is expecting to work more on these procedures. And you can see through the decision number 38 by the Prime Minister signed early 2021 that approved the reforms on food safety control for import goods. Now MOF has been assigned by the government to draft that decree, and now VCCI is collaborating with MOF and GDVC and other government agency to comment for the development of this decree. And we expect that the decree to be issued shortly. That could be very good momentum to improve the specialized examination, especially in food safety control for import and export goods. The administrative procedures has been measured to see what about business satisfaction. Last 10 years, GDVC and VCCI worked together early for this program. At that time, it was so difficult because it's a new approach. Though we have effort, but the custom and the government agency in general, it was not easy for the government agency to, approach that issue. For example, what about the problems? What about the engagement of those government agency? What about opinion from them? But fortunately, we got collaboration from them. Over the last 10 years, we conducted the surveys on business satisfaction in the custom issue. And the custom, they have already used finding of the survey to improve the operation. It is a kind to listen to the voice of the client to see what exactly the business's opinion and satisfaction. Every government agency, they have policy, but the point is, what about implementation in reality? So through the independent survey like this, we could measure and understand through feedbacks of the businesses, so that the government and the custom and JVC has worked out specifically their details and plan of action. So I think JVC is the leading agency among the government agency to capture finding from the surveys on the administrative procedures for their better implementation. This survey was conducted in independent ways. For example, the procedures, information, specialized examination has been collected. VCCI research team work independently, and I'd like to thank JVC for your support and respect to the data information we share. So to deliver our questionnaires, so we have approach to businesses who already participated the 2020 import-export administrative procedure. So nearly 15,000 businesses involved, and we have done samplings through contacts and sending questionnaires, and we have 3,657 businesses involved with us in doing the survey. They come from different economic sectors, from different provinces, city, nationwide, and through statistics views, we can say they represent the business community doing import-export in Vietnam. The rate of feedbacks is high, I suppose. That reflects the support and cooperation from business community in the effort to have further cooperation. Through a few slides, you may see the picture of the business responding to our surveys on import-export administrative procedure. We have many small and medium-sized businesses, and some 29.3% are FDI, and the last are domestic enterprises. And also we also have SOE. So almost businesses, they work straightly on import-export, and 34% they're doing import-export, and some over 11.5% they are doing processing for export. So many are located in the processing zone, and many are working in logistics. And businesses, they have a number of years, many years, over 5 years in import-export procedure. We have 7.5% of businesses involved in import-export procedure for recent years. I would say that businesses sharing the information with us are those who have many years or have a few years experiences in import-export. Though our sample, we have 50% of the businesses, the revenues are lower than 10 billion Vietnamese dong. I think it's important because if we just look at the big importer-exporter with thousands billion revenues, maybe it's not the real picture, because they have professionals, staff, they have very good mechanism for the import-export. So listening to voice from small and medium-sized importer-exporter is good for us to have better understanding of the picture. The diagram is to show you import-export market of Vietnam. That reflects the picture of import-export in Vietnam. Almost our market from China over 40%, and Korea, and then Japan, and export market to the US, Japan, and Korea. So I think this is a general picture of our information collected. And now we move to the assessment from different areas. And firstly, it is access to information. We look for what information they access. What about the decrease in access information? Any difficulties or not? One thing I see, we question them to which channel they have information. So the diagram show you here two different channels that Vietnamese businesses get access to information related to the custom procedure. It's quite complicated, and a lot of different kinds of information. So what channel more effective, cost efficient? Of course, it is something in businesses are interested. So I could say that the online channel is the very high rate. So you can see the satisfaction level is high. GDVC online interaction gateway, and then national single window or contact meeting training and information provided through telephoning, sending documents, or through business association could be generous. That businesses are still, satisfactory. Through the picture, we can see that ICT application is important for providing information and getting access to the information by businesses. Compared to 2018 survey, in general, information with higher quality is increasing. When we question what about the way to get information, they answer that some new model, like they have Zalo-based group chats. They could share information, or it's a very convenient way, and it is very positive for the process of providing information on administrative. Recently, in a longer run, VCCI has conducted survey through different years. So we see the information now is highly appreciated. For example, they say, it is available for the data, the sample are easy, simple to fill in, or information is delivered timely or easy to understand, etc. So compared to the survey in 2015, 17, 18, and 2020 that we launched today, that criteria has been changed positively. So it is, I think, good improvement that could facilitate businesses to get access to information. However, some businesses, they still reflected difficulties. Through our survey, about 38% of businesses that they have constraint in looking for information. So if we look at the site, FDIs, businesses, although with bigger site, they seem to have more complicated information demands, or seem to be more diversified information, or more difficult rather than the smaller businesses. Therefore, the important factors. So in the future, information should not only be in Vietnamese, it should be in English or foreign languages, or more detailed information or more specific information should be delivered. And we have learned which agency provided information in that process. In general, the custom at different level, like provincial level, are now responsible for providing information. We asked, so the answer, 85% of the business said that they access the custom department, 35 custom department in provinces and city. It's very good signal. A different level, satisfaction level, I think, is relatively high. So this is what we have seen through the surveys. And second thing, in this survey, I think is occupied by quite a lot data in the questionnaire we sent. We learned thoroughly about the custom clearance procedure, about the tax management procedures, about the post-clearance procedures, about the SS examination, and about the valuation procedures. We asked them about such a question from the processing businesses. And we also questioned them about the X-rays examination by the custom to check containers. And we asked the performance and service delivered by custom officers. When we look at the satisfaction in implementing different group of procedures, you can see on the screen, we ask very specific question. With that group of procedure, we ask whether it is easy. Percentage saying it's easy and it is simple. So that reflect that area of court with high improvement. And for post-custom clearance or tax return or complaint address, similar to 2018 survey, that is the group of procedure on custom clearance or tax contribution. We have more satisfaction level on that. You can see the green colors, the blues one, with over 40% of businesses saying they are satisfied. That is a positive sign. And opposite to that, many businesses still consider difficult regarding the profile examination in the custom procedures or tax return procedures. That diagram shows you the gray and the dark in the right column that reflects the actual examination or the dossier examination or tax return procedures are in difficulties and still unsatisfaction still high in such procedures. So we can see for the specific rate, simply refer to the text in the report. However, one important point is if we look at the data recently, almost the data, they have positive change. You can see on the screen here, it is the actual time examination. It increased 21.4% compared to 16.8% in 2018 and 5.6% in 2015. So we can see the big improvement by the times. Some businesses expect the change faster, but I think with our effort now, in years to come, we may see more improvement in more procedures. Some other procedures seem to be stagnated. For example, dossier examination or tax contribution, the rate of satisfaction may be reduced. There is some reason. Following to our observation, in the context of the violation on tax contribution, the custom have applied measure to fight against the fraudulent invaluation or tax contribution. So that could be the reason we can see the low satisfaction on tax contribution and tax return procedures. And regarding the custom clearance procedure, we question what concerned them in custom clearance procedure. When we look at the difficulties like dossier examination or good examinations, what improved compared to 2018 is the difficulties seem to be reduced. You can see the pink columns, and it is in 2018 and in 2020 it is these blue one, meaning that the difficulties seem to be reduced, but some difficulties still there. For example, 24.2% said that the procedure are changeable sometimes. That could be difficulty for them, or printings and handlings the custom clearance paper is still difficult, or sometimes still not consistent between the custom agencies and other specialized examination agency. Regarding the tax management procedure in general, it is the inconsistent coordination among stakeholders causing difficulty for businesses in terms of the tax contribution. That is the problem the businesses reflected. Regarding the post-clearance procedures, through the surveys, we learned that what need to address is the prolonged examination or overlap in examination. Compared to 2020 and what happened last 2 years in 2018. Some areas already changed. For example, in 2018, 21.2% business said that it was longer than regulated one. But now that figure was over 11%. So that is impressive. Or in 2018, it said 17.5% of businesses said that overlapping remained. But in 2020, it was only 10.3%. So some area still not very much clear in the facts. For example, the custom department still check the container, even they have already done the port clearance procedure completed. And one of the burning issue in 2020, it is the procedure related to the SH examination and valuation procedure. Through the data of the survey and to the direct feedbacks of the businesses answering our questionnaires, we learned that the procedure on SH and valuation is still a big concern of the important exporters. Through our survey, they have difficulties in, prior to clearance. In 2018, 6.3% of businesses that said that they had difficulty in terms of SH, examination before clearance. But now it is, it is higher, still high, 41.5%. And similarly, the valuation, they still see difficulty. It is 48%. About 5 among 10 businesses, they said that they have difficulty in terms of valuation procedures. And they reflected in a diversified way, but I would say through VCCI survey, that is application of SH procedure is not consistent among custom officers. For example, the custom department is not consistent with other custom department. Sometimes they are punished, businesses are punished due to the inconsistent understanding among the custom officer from different departments. And some participants, some businesses said that the consultation on SH with the custom is not easy. It's not very much cooperative and positive. And the findings on SH examination result, it is still difficult. Regarding the custom valuation, some businesses were not really satisfied with valuation by the custom. Somewhere they said custom officer search on website for the e-custom website and apply that price on the products declared. So the importer said that they didn't order on a website, they order straight from the factory, for example. So that is not consistent. So that is, I think, quite burning issue in terms of the SS and valuation. Regarding the examination of the processing businesses, we asked them about what about examination over capacity of processing businesses or procedure in terms of the balances or evaluation or the accountings procedures. We can see it is not very much difficult. Some businesses still have difficulty. Maybe it's not high rate of the assessment. And through our surveys, In terms of the finding, about 40% of businesses implementing processing for export, they said that they experience difficulties when they send the accounting report. According to the sample number 15, when we asked them whether they handed, what about the frequency to hand that report and submit that report, they said 80% or 90% said that it should be done once a year, or twice a year, or 4 times a year. They still requested, but it's much lower. Almost they requested to submit once a year for the accounting report. Another point is about the container scanning issue for export-imports procedures. We learned that (66.3% of businesses, they said that they have some good procedures in terms of container scanning, and about every 2 months they have to respond to the requirement on container scanning. Implementation of this procedure, I think, is quite simple. You may see they said that they have difficulties or relatively difficult. It's only very low percentage of assessment, or even FDI or private businesses. Domestically, they still have low levels in difficulties in terms of container scanning. Next, it is the goods supervision. In August 2010, VASCM system were implemented, and now 33 among 35 custom departments carry out that procedures. It has been applied in the airport seaports and many facilities. We question businesses whether they have difficulty or better improvement or not compared to the physical one and automated ones. And they said they have easier access when the automated custom supervision. They appreciated very much of this model, 27% increase compared to 17% of the physical or traditional. I think that is a good improvement. However, through our survey, businesses still have some difficulties, like 25% said that ICT still contain error. So improvement of ICT is still the points for priorities by the custom. 10.8% of the business said that it's not consistent for collaboration between custom and other stakeholders, or transparency still remained difficult. And we learned that the processings for export businesses seem to have more difficulty than other group of businesses in terms of the goods supervision. And the independent on transport businesses still have a difficulty on that. Regarding the service delivered by the customs officer, as President Wu Tianlok from VCCI already said in his opening remark, that is the independent survey, so it is suitable to measure the service delivered by customs officer. Surveys from VCCI to capture the satisfaction of the business with regard to the service delivered by the custom official. We look at different aspects, whether they are polite or not, they are authorized or not to do this service, or whether they work professionally or not, or whether the custom officer could consider the businesses are the partner or not, or whether they are enthusiastic or not, or do it quickly or not. So we have high satisfaction. You can see on the diagram compared to 2018 surveys. 2020 survey here is all criteria on the custom service delivery seem to on track to increase of improvement. So monitorings, trainings of the custom by GDVC has been reflected with good result and positive feedbacks, and we hope you continue to do that in the near future. We look at businesses could reflect in a very more positive manners, and with that you can see it's in the annex by VCCI. We can see it is in different the custom, and this is the voice of businesses, and I hope not only GDVC but also the custom department could take this data to work more professionally and cooperative amongst custom officers at different levels. And over the time, I could see the skill to handle the works, but the custom officer have been further professionalized. One important procedure, it is the specialized examination under different ministry agency. This is an important issue that we included in our survey. Regarding the procedures on goods quality control or food safety procedures by different ministry. The diagram shows you the frequency that businesses have to respond to the specialized examination. In general, like procedure by MOSD, MOIT, and March, there's need to continue to follow. We focus on 3 categories. One, regarding the goods quality, regarding licensing or procedures for goods quality control or food safety issue. And I could see, if we see the blues here on this diagram, regarding licensing by the specialized examination agency. So the blue is still not too much. Not all the blue run over 50% here. So the satisfaction of businesses over the specialized examination is still low. Almost they answer, oh, it is normal for satisfaction, or some still say difficult in terms of specialized examination. Therefore, it reflects the stronger demand for our reform in specialized examination. So that's why decision number 38 and the draft decree by MOF now is how can we do better job in examination, and we can do better. However, if we look at this, for example, regarding the 2018 survey, you can see on VCCIs. You can see that the procedures, it is still difficult, and that reflects difficulties. In general, they have difficulties in implementing the specialized examination, and it is 53% and 54.6%. They said that they have difficulty. All the time for special examination seem to be longer. So it is difficult for doing examination. That's why it is very important to have a chain. Finding up the survey, we can see the differences between ministry in charge of special examination. For example, the rate of businesses set of difficulties they have regularly met in special examination. Look at different ministry. We can see the differences among ministry in charge of special examination. Some ministry show the positive change, like the blue one. You can see Ministry of Trade Industry in different area. It's very low. Or some other ministry, like Ministry of Transport, they have more space for the blue colors in the diagram. So I hope we can have more improvement from Ministry for Special Examination. MOSD or MOIT. They still have some difficulty, but compared with other ministry, they still have their own issue to be handled. Or Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Information, Ministry of Health, or other ministry. We can compare among ministry in terms of specialized examination. So for more detail, please refer to the text in the report. We have seen some specific difficulty by businesses with different story, different facts. One, it is procedures. It's still complicated. Letters, participant could share more with us. It is complicated in terms of the procedures. Or sometimes we still have difficulties, and we still have more procedure remain for specialized examination. Though we have seen some improvement or cut down the procedure for special examination, but according to business opinion, they still not improve. And these digitalize the transaction or interaction online still thoroughly implemented. Somewhere the businesses still have to meet face to face with the customs officer. That could be the risk for the fraud which may happen. Through information provided by the businesses and through information collected, we have some recommendation. In general, I would say we need to have stronger and more effective improvement in import-export administrative procedure with more simplification for the custom procedures. And nearly 70% of businesses said that it needed to apply RCT and more transparency needed for custom procedures, or strengthening partnership engagement with businesses and the custom. And the business also raised recommendations to the custom with some issue. One is to improve further the custom legislation, because they worry about the changes from the custom procedure or regulation in a very short time. which may cause more losses for the businesses. And the custom procedure should be more standardized with international practice. I know the custom are falling to that way, but you need to speed up your standardization. And next, it is the ease of fillings still need to enhance. Some department of customs still applies both physicals and online interaction. Sometimes the clearance conducted online still not reflects the entire workload of the custom officer, because they still need to print out the paper, so somewhere still not really effective in terms of ICT application. And next, it is the sharing of information about the custom and other related agency still need to enhance further, because we have a national single window, but connecting information is still one of the issue of our concern. We need to have further engagement. And providing information for businesses should be more professionalized. Though we have seen the change compared to what happened before, but it's still far from expectation of business. And through the surveys, one burning issue I already presented, it is the SH and valuation issue. We need to think about a mechanism to support in a more effective manner to respond to the correction and even sometimes complaints by the businesses in a more friendly manner. And we need to continue developing the transparency, accountability, and addressing violation or fraudulent if it may happen. For the specialized managing agency, examination agency, they expected to have more regular sharing of information with good coordination and collaboration among the stakeholders for special examination. It would reduce the cost of traveling and cost of getting engaged with different agency. Some good compliant businesses, they still, run step by step through the procedure. So it is not good momentum for improvement the procedures. And next, it is to review and reduce and cut down procedure which are not necessary for the engagement. Another point I think is quite sensitive that need a stronger solution. It is the cost reduction apart from the regulation. We raise question about the additional payment for import-export procedure. One positive sign, what you can see on the screen, they have to pay additionally or under-table payment in 2015, 17, 18. That figure seemed to reduce, though it is not, relatively or dramatically reduced, but we have seen the show of reduction in such kind of additional payment from businesses to the custom or to the authority. I hope that the custom and the related government agency would have more stronger engagement for that improvement. That come to the end of my presentation now, and through this survey, I hope through the information provided, the customs, the military agency, and the custom at local level would do better job. What we have achieved over the last 10 years could be further improved, and especially for those related to the custom clearance, need to strengthen more administrative procedures improvement, that we can come up with the breakthrough for import and export to facilitate the economic development in Vietnam. Thank you, and I wish you good health and great success. Thank you, Mr. Đậu Anh Tuấn. Ladies and gentlemen, to continue the agenda, we move to discussion and listen to recommendation by specialists. First, I'd like to invite Mr. Claudio Dori, Director of USAID Trade Facilitation Program, to share with us. Please, Mr. Claudio.
Sorry. So, good morning.
Xin chào buổi sáng. Và rất là cảm ơn ban tổ chức đã mời tôi tham gia và chia sẻ trong một cái sự kiện trình bày báo cáo quan trọng này. Vâng, xin được chúc
For the high level of cooperation in providing these important reports and in conducting these important surveys and collecting the recommendations also from the business sector. In my comments, I would like to highlight and emphasize three main points. The first one is the special focus that this survey will have also on 6 localities, on 6 local customs departments. Secondly, I will emphasize the results showed by the reports in the field of specialized inspection. And third, I will highlight the recommendations, the importance of the recommendations provided by the business sector, and the important role VCCI is having and will have within the business sectors to promote further reforms in the country. Let's start with the first one. Well, besides the survey that you might see and that Mr. Tuan masterly introduced, for the first time, VCCI and GDVC, with the support of USAID Trade Facilitation Program, conducted in-depth surveys in 6 selected localities and with the cooperation of 6 customs departments, Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Haiphong, Bac Ninh, Dong Nai, and Binh Duong. The results of this strict cooperation will also produce reports, very important reports, with recommendations for improving the situation in the localities. And the results of these reports will be introduced in several workshops organizing in the localities, which will also highlight the main challenges. And the main challenges will also be addressed by the local government and the central government. And USAID Trade Facilitation Program is ready to support further actions in order to promote reforms in the 6 localities. I'm not laughing because it's not working, sorry. Okay, I will continue without the slides. Just to say that the Trade Facilitation Program is already working in 4 out of the 6 provinces identified by the report. Second point, I would like to highlight, you have also in the slides in your folder, the important results, the improvement in specialized inspection over the last 2 years. First of all, let me highlight first that this is the result of the government and GDVC efforts in promoting the reform of specialized inspection, at least in the last 6 years. Within this, the role of USAID was also important because with the Trade Facilitation Program and with the previous program, USAID supported the government in promoting this kind of reform. First of all, for example, the program supported GDVC in the specialized inspection legal review and reform. Now we start working again. in reform to reduce, for example, the number of products subject to specialized inspections and prevent the specialized inspection duplications among different ministries and improve the transparency. Further support, however, is ongoing and is already planned within GDVC and line ministries with the aim to reduce costs and time for businesses. Third, I would like to highlight the importance of the recommendations provided by the business sectors and the role that the USAID Trade Facilitation Program is having and will have in the future to follow up and support the recommendations of the business sector to be brought before the government in order for a more concrete actions. First of all, we have to say that the government, and especially GDVC, is working closely with the USAID Trade Facilitation Program in addressing the main points highlighted by the business sector. For example, the business sectors pointed out the need to improve the capacity of customs officers and to increase the digitalization of customs procedures. And I would like to mention that the USAID Trade Facilitation Program is assisting GDVC, for example, and set up already an e-learning management system, which is already working and will be further developed. And the digitalization of customs procedure is even furthered in the program of GDVC. And the program is, the USAID Trade Facilitation Program is also supporting GDVC in these important efforts. Moreover, as I mentioned already before, the efforts on specialized inspections have been really important in the last few years. Besides cutting administrative procedures, minimize the duplication of specialized inspection that I already mentioned, and reduce the number of goods listed among the specialized inspection procedure, the program will also, and the government also issued an important, or planned to issue an important decree for reforming specialized inspection. And this new decree is now discussed within the government in order to be, we hope, submitted for its approval in the next future. So following that, the USAID, the Trade Facilitation Program, is ready to support the government, GDVC, and VCCI in promoting this important reform. Finally, I would like to highlight that the recommendation from the business sector, which are listed in the report, to implement this recommendation, the role of VCCI is and will be more and more important. First of all, we emphasize and we support the idea that VCCI, as member of the Committee 1899, the National Trade Facilitation Committee in Vietnam, to act as a hub for business associations and the business community, as a hub to, first of all, consult the business community on trade facilitation and specialized inspection, but also on national single window and ASEAN single window, and provide concrete recommendations in the context of the Committee 1899, and also at local level, especially at local level, where we are promoting also the constitutional local trade mechanism or local provincial trade facilitation committee. And this active role of VCCI in promoting the instances of the private sector within the Committee 1899, we are sure that are key for promoting further reforms, because we realize that one of the important results of this survey, and there is one important result of the 6 surveys conducted in the provinces, is to provide a thorough picture to the government of the real situation in Vietnam and among the business sector. So we are confident that the improvement of the business GDVC to business and government to business relations are also an important topic USAID Trade Facilitation Program is ready to support, but it will be also a key topic and a key objective for the private sector and the government in order to address all the challenges raised by the report. I thank you very much, and I congratulate again VCCI and GDVC and my team for this important report. Thank you.
Xin cảm ơn ông Claudio Dori. Tiếp theo xin trân trọng kính mời bà Nguyễn Minh Thảo, trưởng ban
invite Ms. Nguyễn Minh Thảo, Head of Business Environment and Competitiveness from Central Institute of Economic Management in CIM to share her views. Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường, Deputy Director General of GDVC, and representative from USAID, Mr. Claudio Dodi, Mr. Tuấn, and ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor today that we have online workshop, but I am invited face-to-face here to share with you the improvement of the custom procedures and the special examination through the business satisfaction in import-export administrative procedures. First of all, I would like to say appreciation very much for the regular activity on assessment of business satisfaction in different sectors conducted by VCCI, and within the report, it refers to the administrative procedures in import-export, the important channel that could include implication for Ministry and NC, and especially GDVC, to understand and what expectation of businesses, what barrier remained in terms of the custom procedures for import-export activity. So I would say that is one of very important finding of the report, not only for GDVC but also for the specialized examination agency of the government. I would like to share with you our observation for long-term cooperating with GDVC and joining USAID's funded and supported projects in Vietnam. I would say custom is one of the area we have conducted reform earlier. I remember in 2014, it was the times of VNAC V6 application, and businesses they raise big question and complaint about the hardship, about the error happened very often. And at that time, the custom was constructive, and they were ready 24/7 hours per day. By the end of 2015, we came back to businesses, and they said that, oh, it was so fortunate for VNAC V6 system application. So at the beginnings, when we conducted a reform, of course, it was not smoothly implemented, but thanks to effort by the custom, I would say the custom seemed to be the pioneers in this perspective. And I would not say 100%, but I think nearly 100% businesses answer that VNAC V6 is, a very, important breakthrough for the custom system. Another point I haven't seen in the report, though Mr. Tuan may say somewhere, in the report you talk about the procedures in e-custom clearance procedures. But I think one of the success of the custom, and the custom, of course, are the area applying risk management through the system. I remember in November 2019, MOF issued a circular right after Decree 85. Mr. Thorn and Kuang, you talk about Decree 85 about the national single window and import-export procedure. So that we reformed of the custom in implementing import-export clearance procedure. I remember it is the circular number 71 or 81. It is one day after the decree issuance. I remember one day after decree 85 in 2019, on the 15th January, regarding the task for risk management for the custom system. In the past, we talk about the risk management. It was confidential in the custom system, but now it is more open, and I recognize that. And I think VCCI may include data information about the risk management, how it was applied. And one more thing, I appreciate very much the reform from the custom. It is the AEO. I haven't seen any model applied for AEOs because we have only a few numbers of AEO benefited from that procedure. But with that, I think we have tried more, and that could be applied for other sectors, especially in the specialized examination. And recently, in early 2021, Prime Minister worked out the decision number 38 for the quality control and food safety control, and now JWC is now developing the decrees on the food safety control. I think the custom worked very hard with intention to generate a favorable legal framework for import-export of foods, but still need to ensure the state management over this issue. It may be controversial among ministry and NC, but I really appreciate the spirit that JWC designed the decree in a way that we could create a good legal framework for businesses, but we need to respond to the management following to international standard. Very positive finding. I feel business or community may share the same feelings following to what we have already observed and worked with JWC recently. And following to that effort, in that process, we work closely with JWC. And then the government, following to that collaboration, the government work out a number of tasks and objectives in terms of the specialized examination. At the report today, Mr. Tuan touched upon more on custom clearance or automated custom clearance, e-custom procedures. However, in terms of clearance, we have to talk about the specialized examination, though Mr. Tuan already talked about that. And the very important reform with emphasis on the specialized examination. In fact, it is more challenging and need more proactiveness of the ministry NC to engage in that process. And following to my observation, JWC worked very hard in collaborating with different ministries to look for suitable mechanism. Of course, we may face with difficulty because there are many technical problems happen, because we seem to rely more on specialized examination. However, resolution number 1902 and many other thematic resolution by the government already touch upon about objective, solution, and principle in terms of specialized examination. Here, I have some preliminary assessment, and I think I could collaborate with USAID Vietnam to carry out a master assessment on specialized examination for 7 years in Vietnam to see what pros and cons and problem to be handled. I would share with you something you may consider that this report, of course, is suitable with the fighting and what we can see from VCCI observation here. For example, in terms of reducing the list of items for special examination, the government expectation is to strengthen more effectiveness in special examination. From different ministries, they have already cut down procedures to ensure the examination, special examination after clearance. However, at this point of time, the ministry just moved from prior clearance to post-clearance audit. So now they move from before and now they move to after clearance for items with high risk. For example, we require quarantine measures or some oil and gas products. So or they will move to the post-clearance audit. It already facilitated a lot to reduce the time containing in the warehouse for businesses, or we reduce the consignment needed the special examination during clearance process. But I think we have seen 12.48% needed special examination. That reflects that we have already reduced and cut down procedures that we have seen. There have been many small license or permits needed from different military agencies. I hope USAID, Vietnam, or business community here need to raise more voice regarding the reducing or minimizing the item of procedures in terms of the special examination. Fundamentally, we are doing on the right track, and some item we see overlapping in special examination, but I think it improved the custom. And thanks to support by USAID Vietnam, you have reviewed in details items of overlappings, and ministry agency has collaborated, or even different department under a certain ministry work together to remove the duplication in the procedure. So I think that's a great effort by GWC regarding the risk management principle application. The first time I see it already applied in the custom, and then it applied for tax areas or food safety with risk management in food safety like that. It have other sectors change their way in risk management. I would say it is a widespread impacts on risk management in other sector. On qualities control, we have talked about the dignity, but one of the reform is the risk management application. And of course, it is partially implemented, but not fully implemented according to 4 principles of risk management. However, we have seen the improvement on that. Another thing is the government requires more, post-clearance examination for that content. I think it's quite positive, and the ministries have already done those examinations, for a post-clearance audit. But the ministry still are under pressure to facilitate the procedure. So sometimes the time of special examination still prolongs because of some specific management issue. Another point I feel in VCCI report presented by Mr. Tuan is the single window mechanism. So they still work both ways, physically and online. So I would say almost now 218 procedures. I wonder whether we have any more procedure. I know that 218 procedures connected with the national single window but only a few conducted online, and the majority, even we have connection, but the majority of businesses, they have to work both online and physically. And in some cases of quarantinings for animals or plant, for example, we discussed with Ministry of Agriculture. They said that they would change because the HC letters, it required the original copy. Then they could conduct quarantine activities. Therefore, even the business, when they submit online, but they still continue with physical submission, we have seen the trend of improvement, so that the business could submit in the system, and the quarantine agency would respond online, and in a few days they still need to submit the original copy of that certification members. So it means that the quarantine agency should not wait the HC letter or original copy of that HC letter, and then they continue to do the follow-up. So that is one of the things that the MART is trying to do. That is important to facilitate not only online but also physical work required. Another point is talked by Mr. Tuan about SH code is still under complaint by the businesses, which are not consistent among the custom department in different provinces city. But I think the ministry has tried to concretize the SS code. There are some sectors, I don't think there are many, some items without consensus or agreement between custom and other ministry. For example, it refers to the medicine or medical equipment, etc. Therefore, we have seen the export tax applies a different level. So maybe that could be subject to investigation and supervision. Or some logistics company, they have a problem like that. However, I think thanks to support by the custom, ministry has tried to concretize as a code already. So I hope it will improve. Another thing, regarding the finding from VCCI report. Firstly, VCCI shared that in 2020 compared to 2015, the compliance level improved. That result reflects the positive findings, and I think it is suitable as we have done in CIM. That is, of course, reciprocal result between us. Another thing, VCCI said that the businesses seem to, lack up dignities. I would say, since 2017 so far, the number of the document related to the special examination changed a lot. But businesses, they feel that it's not more difficult. That reflect the quality of documentation, and legal document has been further improved. Though we have seen the change in the documentation, but it's not caused more difficulty for businesses. So that is the positive change in this matter. And following to analysis by VCCI, it is the inconsistent coordination between the custom and other specialized agency. I totally share this view with VCCI. Though we have not seen a single window, but we still have different line for different procedure without proper connection. So I share the facts now of the national single window. It is, I think, straight to the point. And another issue that Mr. Tuan already said, and it is about the valuation issue. It's not new issue. It remained problematic for a long time. And it is, of course, not consistent between the custom and businesses. And I think the custom may have more study about what mechanism to identify the custom evaluation that should not cause the complaint for businesses. Many businesses say that they want to put into the jail, but they dare not. So that could be one suggestion for the custom to review your valuation system, because it remained problematic for quite a long time. These are a few points and comment from myself against VCCI report. And once again, I really appreciate the report and view from CIEM when you work with the custom, work with different ministry. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Nguyễn Minh Thảo. To continue, I'd like to invite Mr. Trần Đức Nghĩa, Executives Committees members of the Vietnam Logistics Association and Director of Delta International Company, please. Mr. Vũ Tiến Lộc, President of VCCI, and Mr. Hoàng Viết Cường, Deputy Director General of GDVC, and all participants. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me, representing Vietnam Logistics Association, to share views after listening to presentation on the business satisfaction with report import-export administrative procedures. To firstly share general overviews of the report. Firstly, I'd like to talk about the research team with 3,657 businesses answers, independent from the custom and specialized examination agency. I believe that findings of the survey, of course, is independent. Reading the report, we can see the report already answers comprehensively the import-export administrative procedures, and the report touch upon the specialized examination. When we talk about the custom procedure, we may not avoid or skip the special examination. And third point, I would say, so when we read the report, I feel the recommendation started from the reality. So if the functional ministry agency look at the report recommendation, I think it helped a lot if the recommendation could happen in realities and put into the judgment of the legislation. Regarding the business satisfaction with import-export administrative procedures as presented in the report, I think I am optimistic because the business satisfaction with import-export procedures over 60%, I think, is relatively high. As the director of the custom broker, we are doing over 40,000 declaration per year. for the business sorting, the fighting of this is straight to the point. Why we have high degree for the satisfaction? For the objective result, I would like to talk about Vietnam's entry into WTO, that we have lower tax, and it reduced a lot over the last 10 years. So the conflicts between the custom and businesses regarding SH code and valuation reduced. So we have Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường, Deputy Director General of GDC. He is. So I would say the benefits of the businesses could come from the reduction in the cost for import-export procedures. So if we lower the valuation, it means the income increase, and that income could bear tax domestically. So, right, that I hope the view from the custom over this issue would be more open to avoid the situation just mentioned by Ms. Tao from CIM. That means some businesses, they said that they wanted to put some custom department into the jail to respond to the problem, their complaint. In reality, there was a situation that the valuation was too high applied by the custom officer. It means that the profit margin for import-export and domestic business seem to be, narrowed down. So in different situations, I feel it is, I think, tough for businesses. So I'd like to take this opportunity to raise our voice before the custom, before GDC here. So if business, we avoid the tax here, we seem to pay more tax there. So the benefits for the business is now still, still somewhere. If we have proper measure in applying procedures. Another point regarding business satisfaction to increase. I think it is thanks to the government effort over the last terms and now. The number of procedures cut down or the decrease. The decree that administrative procedures are posted on the national single window, or the decree put into national single window, have benefited a lot. Thanks to CIM sharing all these special examination procedures, occupy great numbers of social resources like working hours. But the point is that we have way to handle violation. According to my observation, we need to reconsider what about our approach in these special examination. Another point I want to talk about, it is the subjective reason may increase satisfaction. It is effort by GDC or the custom department and agency special examination. Mr. Do Anh Tuấn already talked about 5-10 years ago, and I'd like to ask you to come back further. I'll be the first time when I did custom clearance in Hải Phòng ports. Haiphong Custom Department 28 years ago, I remember. Compared to what happened 28 years ago and what happened now, I would say it is very big change. I remember when I became a custom broker, we was one of among 30 custom brokers over the country, but now we have several thousands custom brokers. So one expert from the World Bank met me to consult with me about the e-custom. In that meetings, he's American expert, and he talked about VNAC visas in the future, and I could not imagine at that time. At that time, we did custom procedure for importing equipment for BTEL's telecommunication and Vina Mobile. In my bag, there were a list of tax-free items with over 100 pages, and I questioned him: should we electronize all the items, and how can we use that? I could not imagine at that time. At that time, even I expected that happen. So if it happened, the beneficiary, of course, it is us. So 13 years back, from what the World Bank expert said in 2008, now already become true. So that I would like to reiterate again Ms. Tao opinion. As the person with nearly 30 years ago of custom broker, so I recognize the strong improvement of the custom procedures, and that is a part that increase the business satisfaction over 60%. I really appreciate that. I haven't seen that level of satisfaction in such a high level. And another point I'd like to talk about the chain that already touched upon in this report. It is the plan for the specialized examination reform. And if this plan to be implemented effectively, that would continue a more comprehensive chain as the practitioners and representative for the custom brokers. I really hope that plan become true for the improvement of the special examination, because it helps the business to cut down direct or indirect costs. I would like to share with you. As a logistics company, we have over 400 staff nationwide. About 10% of our human resource are doing very simple work. It is take one paper from this place to other places. So if we have national senior window at level 4, our human resource would be assigned to work different things. For example, small example, in that process that we have done over the years, it is these declaration connected with ePort software and VNAC visa system to verify the in and out of containers in the port. Following to our Vietnam Logistics Association, from the business point of view, we save around 5 to 6,000 billion Vietnamese đồng. So it's about nearly 300 million US dollar for 1 year for all businesses in this import-export. So the custom may reduce the personnel some cases in high form. We have tens of custom officials work physically with that. But with that connection, we can, rearrange the human resource. You can save the state budget in this. So that is more thing we have done over the last 10 years. And finally, I would like to talk about the e-government. We talk a lot about the ICT or digitalization for logistics activity for the entire economy, but this effort should be behind the government effort in ICT application. Without the key role of the government, businesses would be difficult in ICT application in their prospective areas. And I would like to thank you for your listening. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Trần Đức Nghĩa. And next, I'd like to invite Mr. Trần Quang Trung, Chairman of Vietnam Dairy Association. Mr. Vũ Thiên Lộc, President of VCCI, Mr. Hoàng Việt Cường, Deputy Director General of JDVC, and all ladies and gentlemen. To be frank, I would say I'm honored to attend this virtual workshop for around 10 participants here. And I have a very short time for my sharing. So I would say I have already read the materials from here today quite detailed. I feel this is so important for the analysis in the report. It goes straight to the point of what's happening, and we see clearly the improvement and the positive change of the military and NC. When we talk about example, we talk about S8 code. We have seen a very long table of S8 code, require guarantee, etc. Or today it is this SS code, and the other day is different code. Or a few days ago, it was a different code. And then we reported to JDVC, and then we got feedback positively by JDVC. So that is a very small example. So I would say the fighting from the survey, of course, very straight to the point, as I said. Regarding the change of JDVC in 2012, 2013, I remember 2013 and 2012, I attended the opening ceremony for the e-custom system. At that time, Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Văn Ninh pressed the button for running officially the e-custom system. And I learned that way. I asked Viettel Group, what about level 4 in food safety management? I took that point to continue to the improvement we have seen in the past. So if we still keep physical work, we cannot export more smoothly, and we could not rank on top of the exporters in the world. So the success reflected a lot in the improvement. It is seen through the improvement of the Decree 15 in 2018 February. The Prime Minister signed and issued. I remember still at this meeting hall, we have the launching for the decision, and we have seen the change of the ministry in terms of food safety from prior to post clearance audit, and with three categories, simple and intermediaries, and of course the special examination. So I think that procedures have a lot. And amongst legal document, I really appreciate the decree number 15 of the government, and the trend of the ministry should follow the food safety management, because it's for the people's health. From national defense and security, of course, it's important. Or for veterinary, how and why it is important than the people's health. So we should not, apply physical and online combination. That is something I already experienced. Like yesterday, I would introduce the fact that application online is impossible, and it requires the written paper sending by post. You see that when we go to the post office, they may not, respond in the context of the pandemic like this. So what about the problems when the goods already arrive? So I think e-government or online procedures at level 4, I think falling to the level 4, no paperwork at all. It is open since 2018, 4 or 5 years now. I think there are no big problems about the fraud. Why? Because big company, big businesses valued billion US dollar, they may not have trade-off for making something violated. So if you still apply physical works with only partially online registration or submission, it still cause difficulties and complicated procedure or unexpected costs for businesses. Second point, I would say, I agree with some shortcomings already said in the presentation. I now share some recommendation. Ministry and NC and the government, we need to have, strengthen decentralization. Not all our government system at local level, they work online totally. So I think it should be consistent by enhancing the procedures application up to level 4 entirely from the central to local level. And second, cutting down administrative procedure among ministry and NC. Due to overlappings, 2-3 specialized examination agency involved, so it's difficult for the custom. Sometimes it's easy for this agency, but more difficult for other agency. So I think the ministry and NC should take into consideration to cut down the procedures. And we need to move to trust building. We should not only rely much on the paperwork or the procedures, which cause complicated. And no businesses have to pay trade-off for what they may violate. So cutting down procedures, administrative procedure is important, I think. Another point, the custom recently you are doing a very good job as a focal point. Under Decision 38 MOF, it is now drafting the decrees on the food safety management. So if we can make it happen and connection between Ministry NC with the custom, I think it would be very facilitating businesses. When the decrees take effect, we need to compare and analyze. Because now I have understood that it remains controversial opinion among ministry and agency. And the government assigned the custom as the focal point in coordination with other ministry and agency. It is the right track. Similar to the experience for the decree number 15 before, the custom still play a key role in coordinating with other ministry agencies. We haven't seen big problems related to the decrees number 15 implementation. So if we follow that way, that would be very much helpful for implementation. The problem happen is no recognition among specialized examination agency for certain products required to be examined. So the government agency in charge of specialized examination should acknowledge results tested by one of these examination agency. That should be further considered and adopted. I could talk a lot, but due to time constraint, I would not. So in conclusion, I would say recently different ministry agencies, especially GWC, you have changed positively, and we have seen the decline in the business complaints. Even as for me, I got different questions from businesses, especially in these dairies sectors. And, we will try our best to facilitate our businesses. Once again, I'd like to thank the GWC and VCCI and the organizer. I'd like to thank Mr. Lok, Mr. Tuan. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chen Quang Chung, ladies and gentlemen. We have been through a very fruitful discussion amongst the specialists regarding the import-export administrative procedures. Due to time constraints, so now we end our discussion section now. We continue to get your ideas or comment through the email address we already share on our website. I'd like to invite Mr. Hoàng Việt Cương from JVC to respond to the question from the speakers. Mr. Vũ Tiến Lộc, President of VCCI, and ladies and gentlemen, I would say that within the virtual workshop, we have question, comment from Mr. Taos, Ngias, and Chung, and those ideas seem to be comprehensive for implication of the report conducted by VCCI and GDVC under support by the Trade Facilitation Program. So once again, on behalf of GDVC and on behalf of the Specialized Examination Agency for the government, are beneficiary of this program. Why I say beneficiary? Because we have been advised for what already achieved and what remained and needed for improvement, through which we can improve further our performance and work to enhance the business satisfaction. With satisfaction concept, it means a lot for what people and business community expect for the custom areas. In order to achieve satisfaction of businesses and people, we ask ourselves whether we are satisfied or not, and then we talk about people and about businesses. And so through the 2018 and 2020 survey, I would say 5 criteria in terms of access to information, addressing delinquency, custom procedures, clearance procedures, improvement, and custom officer performance assessment. Fortunately, such criteria improve compared to it was in 2018. So we ourselves are satisfied. However, some criteria still not satisfy us. For example, like what Mr. Tuan and Tao already talk about. It is about SS code classification or custom valuations. We have learned and have been trying our best to improve it. The point is not only from the custom, it refers to other ministry agencies. For example, when we talk about SS code classification, we could say that the import-export table of tax, and I could not see any other country how complicated it is for our table of taxes, especially about the tax level. Like Mr. Nghĩa said, we reduce tax in our integration because through FTA we involve. However, the number of taxes as applied still are many. Therefore, with different levels of taxes, it causes complicated engagement. So we have requested MOF as a very important role from GVC. We are trying to simplify the export tax levels with over 30 levels. Other country, more or less 10 level of export tax. If we simplify that tax level, we could improve more automated procedures, right? Or second point, in SS code, the custom already follow that calculation. So it should be similar to other specialized examination agency to follow, similar to valuation. Though we have different methodology, we follow international practice and standard. However, to make it happen, we hope businesses to explain and to share open with us, and we will try to improve ourselves to increase our business satisfaction. And second point, in the concept of satisfaction is the spirit in delivery of services among the customer officers. We have seen the improvement in this. Why? Because if we are aware of the matters, instead of state management, we are moving to serve the people, serve the business. This is the fundamental change in terms of the spirit of the customer officer against the peoples and the businesses. From the awareness change, it may lead to the change in action. I think in the future, we will continue to improve ourselves to do our better service delivery to the businesses. And second point I would like to talk here is for the next time, we would continue our interaction and discussion. But I think we should discuss about the survey to be in more depots approach. Why? Because we have already analyzed about the custom. However, it is not quite good we have, but we have to try it further. And for the custom, I would continue to apply risk management, as Ms. Tao said. We have publicized the compliance of business communities. So we would consider to ensure the equality between businesses and the custom. We evaluate the compliance of legal for AEOs, highs, compliant, low or medium compliant or no compliant. We need to put into the public. For that result, our objective is to come up with and to look for the self-compliant of businesses. That is the meaning of risk management. It, mean the self-compliant by businesses. Very, very important point. Regarding the special examination, I would request the study to more in-depth assessment for special examination in some aspect. First, regarding the list of items needed special examination. Second, it is the overlapped item already existed for the special examination. Mr. Nghĩa talked about 2/3 of the procedures come from special examination. Sometimes we already put them into the green line. For 3 seconds, we press enter. That could go through, but we still need to wait for the result from the special examination. Therefore, we need to review the list. And third, it is the documentation needed in the procedure. What about step and procedure needed? And next is the time limit for the special examination. And next, it is the cost for the special examination. That is important for our next step to look for that. That is the basis for our stronger action against the existing problem. And final point, on behalf of the custom of JDVC and on behalf of the Special Examination Agency, I appreciate very much Ministry of Trade Industry, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Transport, and other ministry for the effort in administrative procedure reform. Once again, on behalf of the Custom and the Ministry Agency, I'd like to thank VCCI, and I'd like to thank the USAID Trade Facilitation Program for collaborating with JDVC to have very transparent, clear findings that our custom is committed to work harder to increase business satisfaction. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Hoàng Việt Khương. To continue, I'd like to invite Mr. Vũ Tiến Lộc, President of VCCI, to have the closing remarks. Thank you very much for just staying at this time. It's nearly 11:30. So we got a very fruitful discussion. We got good presentation, and it's much better for the discussion and feedbacks by Deputy General Directors from GWC, of course, is very, persuasive, and that reflects how important it is to conduct this survey, and we are going to do better job in the survey next time. We have done a kind of revolution in the administrative procedure reform in import-export. You know that it occupies a large number of GDP contributions, so the import-export administrative procedures, very important in the whole process. I thank you very much for your contribution in the process. Our revolution continue, right? Like Mr. Kung already said, we still have more space to work more professionally to become top in ASEAN and also in the region and in the world. From VCCI, we will work collaboratively with business community and of course with the specialized ministry and NC to have stronger reform in this area. I do hope that special examination will be improved to welcome the world to Vietnam, and of course from Vietnam to the world. So I believe that we will continue our revolution together with e-government, together with administrative reform. With that, I hope the close cooperation from business community to reflect timely and to advise recommendation to custom and other ministry and NC that we can promote our cooperation. I'd like to declare closing our virtual launching workshop today, and I hope to continue working with you in the future. Thank you very much and see you again. Thank you, Mr. Vũ Thiên Lộc, and I thank you for spending your time joining with us. Best wishes